At Drinking Texas, we know it's about more than just a cold beer pressed to your lips. It's also about community, that perfect combination of good food, great music, and interesting people. That's why we're taking you to some of the best places we've found for having a beer and a great time. Places you'll want to share with your friends. So join us as we go making friends one beer at a time at the bars, breweries, and dance halls that make Texas great. This is Drinking Texas.
407 beers ago.
Mike, what are you doing? That's not Shakespeare.
Oh, I know. It's been so long since I've had a beer.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've been walking around with this stupid thing all day and I don't know why.
Well, I've got a skull.
I've got some sort of Mechanix tool.
Hey, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
We should take over the world?
No. Skull Mechanix.
Oh, Skull Mechanix Brewery in Austin. Let's go check them out. Skull Mechanix has been open less than a year, but in that short time it already has the feel of both a favorite neighborhood bar and contender for top brewery in Texas.
Instead of the traditional growing pains, Skull Mechanix is like an old pro, with a full lineup of extraordinary beers and savvy promotions like Service Industry Mondays and Teacher Fridays. All right, so...
You ready?
No, but go ahead.
This is what I'm going to deal with. All right. Hey, Mike and I are here with Jeff Willis from Skull Mechanix Brewing here in Austin, Texas. Jeff, thank you very much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
Right now, Skull Mechanix is one of the newest breweries in the Austin area, but this guy is not new to the craft. You want to tell us a little bit about your history, where you're from, what you've done?
Well, my dad was in the Air Force, so we moved around when I was little, but grew up in Houston for most of my life until I was 18, then moved around, played soccer for college, ended up over here at St. Ed's around 93. And yeah, I've been doing service industry my whole life. I had a computer science marketing degree, but that lasted about 6 months in a cubicle. So I went back to working with people and doing the service industry stuff. So, but when I got into craft beer, that's when I really found my love for this craft. And so I used to manage Ginger Man, was one of the assistant managers there. And I've been staying on the same path ever since.
So you owned one of the best beer bars in Colorado.
Yes, Tap and Handle in Fort Collins. I left here in 2010, right after the housing crash here. Wasn't a good time to build anything, so when I went up there and I helped open up 2 other beer bars. I helped my buddy open Backcountry Pizza in Boulder. It's arguably Boulder's #1 beer bar up there. Yeah, we hit top 100 beer bars by our second year, and then a lot of brewers come up there for the Great American Beer Festival. So just a lot of people just liked the lineup that I had. I had 74 on draft, and we just rotated all of them, and created some really good relationships with some brewers all over the country, all over the world, and a lot of them thought that Tap and Handle was the best in the country, and I was honored to be included along some of the top bars that I always looked up to. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun.
Especially being a Texas kid up in Colorado.
Showing
all those Coloradans how to do it right. Yeah, we said it.
So this place, when did you have the idea for this, and how did the vision develop?
Well, I always wanted to open a brewery here. The goal was to have a brewery here and a beer bar up in Colorado. But we had our 2 children up there, and we wanted to raise them down here closer to family. So it expedited it, because we were the geniuses that opened up a beer bar and had 2 kids in 3 years. So it made the move go faster for us. We wanted to get the kids down here before school started. My daughter's about to start kindergarten this year, so
congratulations.
It happened.
The heartbreak begins.
I don't say that. We'll work on that one. But yeah, so we the concept was there, but as far as the name and how everything was going to come about, we did it organically. We didn't have a name really set out We didn't have a vision of how the building was going to be because we didn't know what building we were going to be in. So I like for a place to kind of gradually get its own personality. So when we found the building, and we loved all the open glass, and we don't have a big patio out there, but it actually feels like an indoor beer garden inside. That's the concept we're going for. Got the mezzanine upstairs. It's a self-tour area, VIP area. We've got other restrooms up there. We want nice open air place, and then this part of town is where all the mechanic shops are.
Yep.
Back in the day, I used to do all the radiators for the radiator shop for all around town for all the dealerships, and so this was the area of town where all the mechanic shops were. So Skull Mechanic just kind of came out of it. It's a cool name. We like the this skull. We like both the brewer and I. We both like to draw skulls and stuff like that as
Nice.
kids, and so we wanted to be. It just had a nice ring to it.
Didn't you also say it was the mechanics of the mind?
Oh, that's it's got two reasons for it.
Double entendre, if you will.
Yeah. So
I don't know what that means.
He thinks it's dirty, though.
Yeah.
I guess so. I guess the intellectual version is everything you see, smell, taste. That's how you enjoy beer.
Yep.
Once it gets past your skull, you're just paying for it later.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's not coming back up so you taste it again. But
First time's always the best.
Well, before we get to the beer itself, tell me a little bit about the artwork.
What we wanted to use, artwork that appealed to us. It's got our own kind of style to it. Big fan of tattoo art, always have been. We had to go with Gary Martin, who does all the painted signs around town.
Right.
He did Threadgills and Esther's Folly, and he does all of the tattoo places.
Mm-hmm.
So and he's been doing it for 45 years. If you're gonna have a iconic sign in town, you've got to go with
go to the
Gary.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to keep the old school Austin feel and have the South Austin vibe, and try to keep things authentic. Austin, as the town grows and as we get older,
Right.
we still want to preserve what we love about the city.
So your beer, you're a little bit different than everybody else when it comes to the beers. You do a all-day style beer.
I've been looking for this forever because I like to have at my bars. I always like to have a well-rounded menu,
Mm-hmm.
and I was always looking for beer that was lower in alcohol, higher in flavor, and I was hitting up all the breweries like, hey, I need something. I can't kill everybody with this 13% stouts all day long
Right.
and have 20 taps of it. But when I was looking for it, I found that they're really hard to brew. And Michael Waters is our brewer, and he excels at this. When I was looking for a brewer, and I knew that I wanted to have this kind of beers showcased, I asked around town. I wanted to find somebody local that was ready to do their own thing. I don't really micromanage him or anything like that. He knows what he's doing, but he excels at it. Actually, Swifty at ABGB referred him to me.
Nice.
And
Here's a Swifty.
I agree. And it was a good fit.
Yeah.
We get along, and he brews amazing beer, and I've been looking for this for a long time.
Oh yeah.
So I think it fills a niche that a lot of people are doing because they're scared to brew it.
Skull Mechanics is one of just a few family-owned breweries in Austin.
There was plenty of interest from prominent partners, but Jeff chose to go it alone, so he answers only to himself, and his wife, and his mom.
The way I look at it is, for us, this is a way of life. And I guess for some other people, it's a job. They can bounce around and leave, but we're here to support our family.
Thank you.
As the owner, Jeff has had to do many jobs: sales, delivery, room manager, stage booker, builder, carpenter, and more.
But that doesn't mean he hasn't had help from some of craft brewing's heavy hitters.
You designed you designed the brew house all by yourself, right? With no help from anybody else?
No. We had some awesome people. Like I said, I made some really good friends selling beer for, over 13 years, 14 years
Yeah.
for other people. So I did the overall layout because I knew I wanted it to be like this and drew it on a piece of graph paper. But when it came to designing the brew area, Swifty at ABGB was a huge help.
Here's the Swifty.
Again. Doug Odell, we've got the guys over at Odell Brewing were great. Peter Buchard, who was over at New Belgium, who now branched off and has his own really awesome sour program. He helped me out with some advice. And Dave Chichura, who used to be head brewer for Oscar Blues, who now is head production brewer for Melvin. They were all really gracious enough to give me some insight on some things to do differently, and so we were able to use some cutting edge technology that has never been used in Austin before.
Yeah.
So we have a boiler that's designed just for breweries that we found because as we were looking around, where people knew that I was doing this project, and as people were talking, we were able to find some really good avenues and build some other relationships that we could get our dream done. So we wanted to have a brew house and a brewery that was very flexible to brew all these different beers.
Right.
We don't want to be pigeonholed on a certain style. I love all styles, obviously, from running beer bars, but we want to have that flexibility to do whatever we want.
What that includes is nearly 20 different kinds of beer, top-level live music, an 80s-style pinball and video arcade room, and a unique bar top with a story of its own.
So when I was looking around, when I did my bar up in Fort Collins, one of a local artist up there named Kyle Eddy did my bar top up there. We used wood from a 150-year-old barn from LaPorte for that one, and it just had this amazing character, and you could see all the old paint from the barn. You can see the aged wood.
Right.
And so I was looking for that down here, and it wasn't. I found out that the wood ages differently in the atmosphere that's in, and in order to get those qualities, we had to get wood that actually was from a drier area. So we went with him. He built it up there, and I was going to go up there and pick it up. And when Hurricane Harvey happened, his wife is from Houston, and her family lost their house in Orange County. Well, he called me up and said, "Hey man, don't worry about coming and picking up that bar. I'm going to bring it down. I got to bring down an RV so that my in-laws have a place to live." So he filled it up with water and food, and he threw the bar in it.
Nice.
He hot shot it down here, and we parked it and unloaded and put the barcode on it all overnight. And he shot over to Houston and got them their new home, and was able to fund that because I gave him a little bit extra money for doing that.
Yeah.
And it helped pay for some supplies and pay for his gas, and it just has a good story to it because he's able to help somebody out in the process.
That's awesome.
All right. You ready for random questions?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this is one we always start with. What was your first beer?
My first beer?
First
Yeah.
beer.
My first beer tour was when I was 2 weeks old. It was Coors. My mom just left, but yeah, it was. You can ask her. They went on like Coors Brewery tour.
Did
when
you
I
get
was
some of
just
that
a
in the
baby.
bottle?
I don't know. Maybe.
I hope so.
Yeah, that could be their whole reason. Thanks, Mom.
So do you go Yellow Bellies or
No.
do you go light?
I guess my first beer I had was
It's kind of irresponsible. as a
probably
parent.
Budweiser, I guess. I can't remember exactly when, but I probably drank some of my dad's beer. He
All right. So, what was the first tattoo?
Tattoo? Gully cat. So I got the shark and the octopus first. We have a Gully Cat IPA. Actually, Mike Terrell that owns Gully Cat we were soccer players together in Western State University as freshmen. He was a sophomore.
Yeah.
We would sit in the dorms and draw tattoos and drink beer. And he was like, one day I'm going to have my own shop. I was like, one day I'm going to have my own brewery. So
Done.
when this was coming up, I was like, hey man, we did it.
Yeah.
You know, like how many 18-year-olds get to do exactly what we said we were going to do in college, sitting in the dorms. And I was like, do you want to be a part of this? Because I'm going to use, you know, local artwork and local tattoo artists and you know, for our imagery. And he was like, yeah, can I do the IPA? And I was like, what do you want to call it? He said, well, Gully Cat IPA. So thanks, Mike. You know,
Yeah.
it was
Here's Mike.
really cool.
Yeah, now my 18-year-old dream still hasn't come true, but Morgan Fairchild's still out there, so.
Yeah. Thanks for having us out.
Yeah, man.
All the
Cheers.
luck to you
Look at that. I
going
don't know if it's
forward.
bad luck.
It's bad luck.
Oh,
You can't
Yeah,
choose
you
this
can't.
one over here.
We'll,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
stay over here. All the luck to you, man.
Thank you.
We hope it much success going forward.
Yeah, and thanks for involving me in your biz, and good luck with your podcast and your
Thanks.
YouTube channel. For you know, it's nice to be a part of Drinking Texas.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Yeah, man.
Hey, come out and see the folks here at Skull Mechanics. They do a great job.
You won't be
Cheers.
disappointed.